England's women are in World Cup action from the start of October. The T20 World Cup gets underway on October the 3rd in the UAE. It's been moved from Bangladesh after political unrest made it impossible to host the tournament in that planned location. Our Test Match Special will have full commentary of every game of the tournament, with England looking to win the trophy for the first time since 2009. Henry Moran has been speaking at Lord's today to the head coach John Lewis and the captain Heather Knight.
Well, Heather, not long to wait until the off for the World Cup. How are things?
Yeah, good. Had a nice week off, celebrating Danny Wyatt's wedding, which was really good fun. And yeah, just recharging the batteries and ready to get going. A bit of training next couple of weeks, and then we head off for a pre-season camp, pre-World Cup camp, apologies, on the 13th of September. So yeah, very much excitement levels are starting to build.
John, it's sort of split in two, this, because obviously there's the Ireland series and the World Cup squad. I mean, from your perspective, that you've got to have eyes all over the place.
Yeah, you do. No, so it's sometimes tricky to keep track of what everyone's doing, but we're really confident that the two squads we've picked are pretty much bang on. The one in Ireland in particular, which obviously comes first, is a really exciting squad. I think it's got a really nice blend of youth and experience. Kate Cross is obviously one of your commentators, is a captain out there, and I think she's got a really interesting job on her hands in terms of managing that team and helping and getting Tammy Beaumont as well to help her through and use the experience that they've got to bring on the young players as well. And I think that's a really important role for those two players in particular. And then off to the World Cup, and we've got, like Heather said, we've got a training camp in Abu Dhabi, and we're excited about getting going for that.
Well, let's have a little bit of a focus on the World Cup, because your experience now of ICC events, leading England into ICC events, Heather, you've been to so many of them now. What have you learned? What is the sort of feeling going into a tournament?
I think not to change too much, purely based on obviously what's at stake and that you're playing in a big tournament. So I think for me it's trying to build into it, but build into it exactly how you would any other series or competition, trying to get yourself in a good place individually, and then captaincy wise, just trying to get everything together, hopefully trying to get the girls in a really good place, get them in form, and just be really clear on how you're trying to play. And I think probably this World Cup has been one of the most prepared I've felt, not just myself but as a team, and just in terms of the squad depth we have, it's probably the most we've ever had, and it feels like pretty much every person in that squad could play a really leading role during this World Cup. And obviously the things we've done around giving opportunity during the summer to some of those squad players has really left us a few selection headaches, but it's a really good place to be as a squad. Everyone's going into that comp having contributed at some point to England winning games of cricket. So yeah, selection's going to be tough, but now it's all about just getting out there, getting the things you need to do with World Cups, the media and extra events that come with ICC events as a captain, and then just focusing on the cricket.
Does that sound about right? Difficult selection headaches? I mean, it's a consistent squad, certainly, in terms of what we saw earlier in the summer. Yeah,
and I think Heather's point there around the depth of squad and also the depth of competition outside the squad has been something that I've been really, really happy with. We've tried hard over the past, I suppose, 12 months or so to try and develop the players that are almost, I suppose, on the periphery or just outside of what you could say would be our best 11. And I think the other thing that we've worked really hard at developing, which I think will be really important in this World Cup, is staying really present. And we've worked hard with the players about living in the moment and making sure that we're able to stay really clear about what we're doing. And we've, I suppose, again, over the last 18 months or so, we've worked really hard on working what we do best and how we play and the way we want to do things, rather than worrying too much about the opposition and how they do things. So that's the stuff that we'll continue, like Heather said, the themes of stuff that we've been doing for a long period of time, and hopefully the consistency and the backing that we're giving the squad that we've got and the talent we have in the squad will pay dividends when we come out at the end of the tournament.
So is that team psychologists and trying to get the sort of right headspace, all those sort of things? What are the techniques for making sure the team are in the right place?
Well, I think, from my point of view, it's really important the team are really connected and they're really honest with each other. And we've got a varied support staff and support group of staff that work continually with players in different areas to make sure that they feel confident going out on the field. And from my point of view, if we can have players that are really confident when they walk on the field and a captain that's really clear, then we're in a really good place to play our best cricket. And if we do play our best cricket, I think we've got a really good chance in the tournament.
It's a tournament, Heather, that we thought was going to be in Bangladesh. Then we thought it probably wouldn't be because of the political unrest, and there was uncertainty about where it was going to end up. The UAE, how do you feel about that as a venue?
Yeah, okay. I haven't played a huge amount of international cricket there, so that'll be a bit of a unknown. I guess it's a shame for the Bangladesh women's team that they won't have a home World Cup, but I think it was the right decision, obviously with what's been going on. In terms of crowds, it's not going to be as good, that's for sure, but it will mean probably our families will be able to come along, which is a big positive for the girls, and we'll probably have a little bit more freedom in terms of leaving the hotel and things, so that's a bit of a positive in comparison to Bangladesh. But yeah, look, there hasn't been a huge amount of chat around something that's been out of control a little bit. The conditions will be slightly different, not probably as extreme as Bangladesh, but not too dissimilar as well. So the preparation that we've done over the last sort of 12, 18 months around preparing for this competition will stand us in really good stead. The skills that we've tried to work on and develop, hopefully, will be skills that we'll obviously need in the UAE as well. But yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Anytime you get to play in a World Cup, it's really special, and they're the tournaments that you mark out in your calendar and you really look to build towards and look to do well in. So yeah, the team's in a really good place, and if we go out and play the cricket that we have been doing and not get too far ahead of ourselves and focus on each game at the time, as the big cliche goes, we should be in a really good place to compete.
Spin has been such a key part of your side's success in recent times, John, and is there that feeling that though it's not Bangladesh, it's the UAE, slightly different conditions, as Heather says, not maybe quite as extreme, but that is your strong suit, particularly when it comes to looking to try and put pressure with the ball?
Yeah, for sure. Our spinners have been really successful for us, and they do a really good job for us. The bowlers that bowl around them as well. I think the variety of bowlers that we have left arm swing bowlers, right arm swing bowlers, and lots of different variety of spin bowlers as well. So we're in a good place. We've got a really well-rounded attack, and I think the variety that those three spin bowlers, well, four if you include Lindsay Smith, five if you include Heather here, and then six obviously if you include Alice Capsey. So we've got a really wide variety of spin bowlers that we can use. So we're confident that the variety of the challenges that they present to the opposition is something that's really stood us in good stead over the last year or so. And again, the conditions should suit us out in I was going to say Bangladesh, out in Dubai, and Abu Dhabi.
This is the thing. I mean, presumably you've got all sorts of calculations and plans that do have to change quite last minute because of this change.
I think the stuff that we've been working on, particularly with the team, in terms of the skill development, will be quite consistent wherever we go in the world. So the accuracy of our bowling, the range of stroke that our batters can play, and the variety of attack that we have, and to be honest, the athleticism and the fielding aspect of our game, we've been working incredibly hard on that as well. So those things will hopefully stand us in good stead across all conditions. The bit that I suppose that exacerbates it a little bit is in terms of when you go to Bangladesh, sometimes conditions get a little extreme, and so you might need to just drill down and knuckle down in those areas a little bit more. But the stuff that we've been doing has worked really well in England over the summer. It worked nicely in New Zealand and India before Christmas. So we think we've got all bases covered, but now we've just got to go and play well.
And what about belief, Heather? Because beating Australia is always seen as the big challenge. Of course it is with their success. But you did beat them in 2 white ball series here in England last summer. Does that create a different mentality for you and belief as a squad?
I think maybe. I think, like John talked about earlier, wanting to focus on ourselves has been really key for us the last couple of years, and I think that's going to be no different whoever we play going into a big world event. But yeah, I think last summer was a bit of a turning point in the belief that we can beat that Australian side and really compete, and that we have the players and the depth to be able to do that. I think we've 100% always had that, but maybe it's been missing that kind of real belief that we could beat them, and also the depth. They've obviously had a rich of talents in terms of the depth of their players for a long time, but we've started to build that. We've started to get that squad depth that can really compete with them. So yeah, look, whether we face them or not, we obviously don't know, but whoever we come up against, we believe that if we play well, play our best cricket, that we can beat any team on our day.
Last T20 World Cup, disappointment, ultimately not reaching the final. Does that give you a little bit of extra fire?
Not really. I think T20 cricket sometimes a couple of players can win you a game, and it can be one that brings teams closer together for sure, and it can be more of a, not lottery, but it can be results can go either way a lot quicker. So no, I think we learned a lot from that World Cup. I think a lot of work that we've done around staying present and trying to win big moments and trying to be a little bit more ruthless as a side has probably come from that World Cup, and trying to build a few more leaders in the group as well, and trying to really, I guess, be clear going into another World Cup how we want to play things and how we want to manage those big moments is going to be really important. So yeah, look, it's one of those things, but cricket moves on very quickly. There's so much cricket going on these days, you haven't got a huge amount of time to dwell, but yeah, I felt like that World Cup taught us a lot of lessons that hopefully we can take into this one.
John, you look at different squads from the last World Cup to this one, it's amazing. Suddenly, if you see a snapshot, how much transition there's been in the last 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, I suppose. There has been. We've used a fair amount of players over the last, I suppose, since the start of my tenure in terms of England head coach. But I think what we're seeing is a real vibrant young feel to the squad, and balanced really nicely with the experience that we have with the captain and the senior players. I think that's the thing that even being in the dressing room, you can really sense the life that the young players bring into the dressing room, and the fun that and the sense of fun and how much enjoyment they have of playing cricket for England. And for me, that's a really important part of what we do, and we've got a real sense of, I suppose, purpose around growing the game and inspiring the next group of young women's cricketers to come through and play for England. And I think that young group of cricketers and the vibrance and the diversity that they have added to the more senior players is something that's really special about the team. And I think the future is really exciting.
And these players, Heather, have a big experience now and knowledge of what it is to play in front of big crowds. The 100 has transformed that pathway between being a domestic and international cricketer, because now 20,000 people is normal for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old coming into the side.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a bit different in the UAE, I think, in terms of crowds. And I guess as individuals, everyone will have to find a way to manage that, because like you said, it has become...
But I suppose also in terms of big match pressure, that experience.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I think the 100 actually has been really good for us as a group. I think probably players have been put under more pressure than they've probably been throughout the summer, because you do feel like it's a real pressure cooker in the 100 because of the fast-paced nature of the game, and the depth of each side, and how you feel like you're under pressure, because obviously batters are going hard and things like that. So I think the 100, as well as sort of playing in big moments and in finals and in front of crowds, I think has really helped us build into this World Cup and really be hopefully quite rounded and I guess match ready and match hardened to compete in this World Cup.
Just finally, John, could be a big win to this, could be an historic one if there's success at the World Cup and then in Australia in the Women's Ashes. Are you looking that far ahead?
What was the cliche you said earlier, Heather?
Which one?
Look, we've got... it's really important for us that we focus in on the first game of the World Cup. That's the one. Each game at a time. That's the one. And it is really, I know it is a cliche. We won't be looking too far ahead, but yeah, we've got the obvious thing. I think always when you put an England cricket shirt on, whatever team you're playing for, there's an expectation around winning. The thing that we are really connected to is inspiration and entertainment, and we'll try and work out the best way to do that in the different places we play around the world. And the players are really connected to that, and it's really fun to go out and watch them go and do their thing, because they're an incredibly talented and incredibly skillful group of players.
Well, that's Henry Moran speaking to England head coach John Lewis and captain Heather Knight. And England's opening game of that Women's T20 World Cup is against Bangladesh on the 5th of October in Sharjah.